Hey, what is up guys? It's your boy Speed here, and today we're going to be looking at morphling. We're going to specifically be looking at Mickey's morphling that went 17, 2, and 12, and I feel very compelled to make a video on the topic of morphling because not only do I think it's a very good hero in pubs overall, I think it's one of the best heroes in Dota right now, if understood on how to play the hero. Basically, it can be played as a safe laner or a mid laner. And so everything you're going to learn in today's video can be applied both to the safe lane and to the mid lane role. And we're going to see why morphling is one of the top heroes, because also it currently, if I'm not mistaken, has a 70% win rate in the last chance qualifiers. That is absolutely insane. And I don't think it's unclear to any of the pro teams right now that morphling is a first phase pick ban hero. Many teams seem to be picking it and trying to counter pick it and overall just play around the morphling. So without further ado, let's hop into morphling and see why this hero is so damn good. Also, I want to tell you guys that if you've been struggling with solo queue and you're looking to get to the next rank, I'm going to be able to help you. Like literally with the Game Leap website, I'm going to give you guys guides that are going to make it unbelievably clear on what you need to do. So if you've been stuck in the solo queue grind, you don't know what to do, and you want to become absolutely broken, but like actually you want to become much better at Dota, and you want to take it more seriously, the Game Leap website is going to help you do that. So click the link down below. I'm going to help you get to the next rank, and I'll see you there. Also, because I think it's fun to start with this in the video, I just want to give you guys some perspective. This hero can basically be first phase pick banned, even in pubs. Like literally, if you are tilted and you just want to first pick your hero, you could pick morphling. Because really, I think the only major counter to the hero is Ancient Apparition. Everything else, because of the buffs and nerfs to morphling, is playable. Everything is playable, right? Everything. I'm not making that up. Everything is playable. So without further ado, let's hop into it. We see they picked up a Centaur and a Leshrac on Extreme Gaming. We see an Elder Titan from Team Liquid, and then the morphling is going to come out here. So pretty limited information, just a Leshrac and a Centaur, and you might be like, oh, that's 2 stuns. Who cares? Because you could just buy your shard and then morph when you're stunned anyway, right? So it's like it doesn't matter. And morphling can lane fine into Leshrac if you need to lane mid. That matchup's fine. And so you have a good lane matchup, you don't care about stuns necessarily, and you're chilling. So in terms of the mid lane laning stage, it's slightly different than the safe lane in regards where instead of prioritizing a magic wand, which you still do in the mid lane, and we'll probably see him pick it up after the bottle, but in the safe lane, you have to heavy prioritize stick because it's going to be what helps you heal. And then from there, typically you're going to buy boots and a Morbid Mask. That seems to be the most common build of the current meta. So yeah, basically, if you're unsure what to buy, just focus on Magic Wand and regen items. That's going to allow you to infinitely heal. And because the idea is that your W is pretty broken right now, it got buffed really hard where it's extremely spammable, really good for last hitting, and really good for harassing. So if your lane is a winning lane, you use it to harass the opponent. If it's a losing lane or an even lane like Leshrac, you use it on the range creep, right? So if you're laning against Viper, Leshrac, Lina, Shadow Fiend, nuke the creeps, right? Nuke out the creeps and play from there, right? Go for CS, don't focus on harassing too much. You're not going to win the lane against a high range hero like Leshrac. However, you can do okay, at least in terms of CS. You're not going to win because your attack range is bad, and still at the end of the day, you have to keep in mind that, right, you will get your strength forced against good players, right? The Leshrac's going to hit the morphling a lot, and that's going to cause him to have to morph strength, but you still can just do okay. Now, the biggest buff to morphling is the fact that you don't have to max out your attribute shift anymore. In the past, you would have to put your first, well, when you hit level 7, you'd have to put all of the points into attribute shift, because it just didn't scale that well. You'd have to max it out. Now, the bonus agility at level 2 is 5, which is pretty good. The shift rate is 10, which is more than enough to shift up and down comfortably, and the mana cost goes up as you scale it. So the ability in terms of mana cost actually gets worse over time, meaning you really don't want to max this ability out. It's almost a bad thing, sort of, to max it out. To be fair, the mana cost per second goes up, but the shift rate goes up, which basically means it's the same mana cost per shift rate, but you just don't need it is the point, right? You don't need it. You don't have to play around shift anymore. So what you can do is max out waveform, meaning you're going to have an 11-second cooldown mobility nuke, which is the best types of nukes typically, for your laning stage, for ganking, for farming, for everything that you need it for. You can have this maxed out. Now, this is why you need Magic Wand. You have to rush Magic Wand because the main concept of morphling is you're going to be playing around 400 or 500 HP with about 1,000 total HP. This is a very common scenario. and you're going to get pressured out, right? But as long as you have raindrops and magic wand, you're rarely going to die, and you can shift all the way down and then pop your wand when you're on minimum, right? When you're on minimum strength and maximum agility, you pop your wand and shift back up, and that allows you to have 92 damage and 350 health. And that is what's so stupid, because Leshrac, he's actually pretty decent damage right now. He's level 7, pretty decent damage, but he's 81 damage. You have 92, so you have a bit of a damage advantage. All that it costed him to do that was 7 wand charges and a few raindrops, right? So it's very easy to do this over and over and over again. It's not like some high committal thing. It's just something you can do literally off cooldown. And if you have a bottle or bottle charges or Morbid Mask, you could see that any regen, you basically want to pop it when you're max strength. Try not to pop any regen when you're not minimum strength. Sorry. When you're not minimum strength, don't pop the regen. When you are minimum strength, basically go all the way down, pop what you have, and then go up, and you'll be super, super chilling. For instance, here, he gets a bottle refill. He's going to go all the way down. Even though a fight's breaking out, he's going to go all the way down, pop his bottle charges, and get back up to a comfortable, basically full HP, full mana. And this is the power of the morph. No matter how bad your lane theoretically could be, basically everything is playable, and that is why this hero is popular, at least from a laning stage perspective. From there, whether or not you're a safe laner or a mid laner, the main goal is to stay in your lane for as long as possible. Your hero is very difficult to gank for obvious reasons. It has a disengage ability, 2 of them actually, with strength, right? With strength adaptive strike, pushing people away and stunning them. You have 2 disengage abilities, even 3 if you turn into certain heroes that have disengage spells. And then of course you have shift. So the main goal of this hero typically is to actually stay in your lane and basically enable your side lanes or your mid lane and side lane, depending on where you're laning, to stay in their lanes and farm their lane as well. Right, you can get active, and we'll see in this fight here. This is a really nice fight from Mickey. He's going to get active, but this is primarily because now he's hit a good place. Currently, he's 0, 0, and 1. No action, and this is going to be usually what you're doing on Morphling. 0 action, low kills, low deaths, low assists. That's fine, right? You're playing more so for the mid game. Here, Mickey, because he's a mid laner, and so he's a high level, and because he has a DD, things are looking pretty good, right? DD Morphling is broken because DD is based off of your, it doubles only your base damage. However, Morphling only has base damage because all of his damage is based off agility. So DD is particularly strong on Morphling because he has low base attack time and high base damage. So he gets a DD rune, which is the broken rune on Morphling. Easily is the broken rune on Morphling. Haste is really good too, but he gets that. Even arcane runes, most runes are pretty broken, honestly. Like, let's keep it real. Even illusion runes are broken on Morphling because low base attack time and high base damage, which is what illusions want. So let's move on to the point. In the fight, turns into the centaur, gets off a stun, huge Mortimer kisses, and he's just chunking with these autos, like absolutely chunking. And he has 2 high damage nukes too, right? So he's just really effective as a hero at the moment. DY comes in on the IO. Look at this damage. I mean, that is, every single auto attack is literally a 1/6 of his health. That is crazy. Now you're going to shift back down, pop your wand, pop your bottle, and you're back to fighting shape and farming shape. And that's the power of Morphling. You basically do this over and over and over again. Farm up, stay in your lane, hit your timings, and then if people happen to go near your area and you're level 7, 8, 9, you can turn into some useful hero. You don't even need to. He actually skilled this at level 9. Keep that in mind. He literally skilled Morph at level 9. You typically don't have the mana for it early game, so you shouldn't skill it until you actually have a good amount of resources, right? If you're half mana, half HP, and no way to heal up your mana, and a fight's about to break out, don't skill the Morph if you level up. Skill just Adaptive Strike, right? Just skill Adaptive Strike, and just don't play around the Morph, right? Because it is really mana intensive to use Morph, as every ability you cast from someone you turn into costs on your own mana pool, right? So it's a little bit rough to try to actually play around the Morph. From there, your hero's major timing is actually Dragonlance in the early game if you are a mid laner. Now, as a safe laner, you can go this too, but most safe laners buy Manta styles, so they farm a bit more, right? They can push out side lanes and just overall play to hit more creeps. But even as a safe laner, if you think you need to get active or want to get active, you just feel like it's a good Morphling game, maybe they don't have any silences and you pick up your shard as well, you can get very, very active. For instance here, it's a little bit dangerous for him to push up. He doesn't have a Dispel, but the enemy's main stun or a way to kill him is Boundless Strike and Lesh stun, which is hard, or a low duration Hex into another stun, which is also kind of hard, as Hex has really bad cast range. So here he must feel pretty safe as a result of the fact that it's hard for them to go on him. They don't have like a Puck silence or a Disruptor ulti or something like that, or a Skywrath silence. So he feels pretty confident with the Dragonlance to hit the tower because he doesn't have to get as close now. If you don't have D-Lance, hitting these towers is pretty suicidal a lot of the time because he'd have to walk up to like right here, which would put him in stun range of a lot of TP areas. And that's the case for like any situation. This is pretty advanced knowledge, but it is the case. And that's why, like, as a mid laner, if you're gonna fight, you buy D-Lance. It's broken stats, and on top of that, it just kind of gives you the attack range you need to stay in a comfortable position. But as this fight breaks out, this is a dope call from Zai. This mainly comes down to Zai just hitting a god call, to be perfectly honest. But either way, fight breaks out. In terms of talent, he took waveform range. This is very common. Actually bought a cloak, which is cool this game. Mostly magical damage early game, which is typically the case in Dota. He buys the cloak and is gonna go with early Mage Slayer to counter out the Leshrac. Really cool. Really, I actually love this. I really love it. Because it's also just a great, it's such a great item here, actually. It's only 2,400 gold for 20 attack speed, great. 20 damage, great. 2 mana regen, fantastic. And 10 int, which your hero loves. And 25% magic resistance, which your hero also loves. And then, of course, the active, the passive of Mage Slayer, which is such a counter to heroes like Leshrac this game. Even the Centaur, it's a fantastic item. I love his item build this game. I think it's really wonderful. But he turns into the Leshrac, gets a 2-man stun off the call, gets the max Edict, casts the lightning for him, and now he's got Edict. As he's auto-attacking people, he has Edict if people walk up to him. Like, Old 11 doesn't even know he's dying to Edict here, but he is. He's just getting shredded by the stolen Edict. Actually goes for the kill, misses the stun because he sucks, and the fight ends there as they kill off the IO. And from there, he's going to pick up his Aghanim Scepter. If you don't know what this Ags does, even though I've talked about it a million times on this channel as of late, basically, you steal the enemy's stats. If they're a strength hero, you also steal status resist. If they're an agi hero, you steal bonus attack speed. And if they're an int hero, you steal bonus spell amp. What's really stupid about it is when you have Ags and you turn into someone, it just steals 20% of their total stats. Meaning it steals int, agi, and strength from who you turn into, which like destroys heroes. It's 20% of their stats. That's such a high number. And what's crazy is that if you steal from a strength hero, you get 40% status resistance. What a heinous number. That is disgusting. 40%, and 70 attack speed from an agi hero. That is so much attack speed for an Ags, right? Considering it also steals their base stats. If it only stole 70 agi, people still might buy this, right? They would still consider it. It wouldn't be broken, but they would still consider it. And it steals their stats as well, which is insane. And as we see this next fight break out, we're going to see a Roche. This is based off a DD. Unfortunately, it's bugged right now, but he actually does have a DD going. I don't know why it's not showing it, but he's hitting for like 300 right now. Fight breaks out, he's going to stay on the outside. Main thing you do as morphling, don't dive the backline right away. Can you, if you can one-shot one of the supports? Maybe, you know what I mean? Maybe. But you're often going to break your team's formation if you do that, and so it's very risky. Just kill whoever's closest. If the shaman was right here, yeah, you could kill the shaman. But if the shaman's not a bot and he's like relatively in position like he is, then just kill the centaur, right? Unless the centaur is completely untouchable, which is not the case here. So it goes on the centaur, steals the edict again, blows up the centaur. From there, it goes on to the IO, has a DD. 5 hits would kill the IO. Same thing for the shaman. He's going to kite out of the ring here. Just chunks the shaman with 2 autos. From there, it gets going on, gets hexed. Age is broken, but it's not the end of the world. As he respawns, he's going to apply the Mage Slayer to Paparazzi, making it really easy to man up. The greatest hook of all time from Matoma Man, and the fight ends. Now, in terms of talents, they're going to be about the same every game. At level 10, this one is the only one I would say you could change. If they're all magic damage, you can take magic resist. It's a really high number. But at 15, you take morph duration. At 20, you take waveform attacks targets. And at 25, generally, you're going to take waveform charges because it synergizes with your level 20 talent. And waveform charges, just in general, lets you get to the backline, kite in and out. It just has too much practicality having that much mobility. 35 strength is tempting, but at that point in the game, you have plenty of stats and you're stealing stats with your ag. So you really don't need that many stats. You're better off being more mobile and having waveform attacks twice. It's really strong, actually. Even for farming, it's really strong, as it lets you one-shot creep waves. But we'll see the fight break out here. Really nice hex, as he's going to jump onto the Leshrac. Actually gets stunned. Is he dead? Uh-oh. Gets stunned here. Didn't pick up his shard. Yeah, he dies. That's the one thing you have to be careful about. Obviously, you still can die to Spirit Vessel, especially if you don't buy a Dispel like you did in this game. If you do get Vesseled, like he messed up and went into a stun there. If you do mess up and you do get Vesseled, actually, no, he didn't even get Vesseled here. Oh, I thought that this red shackle looks like Vessel. I'm sorry. He didn't even get Vesseled. He just got chain stun in the morph form, but he didn't have his shard. If he had his shard, he honestly would have been fine. Maybe he'll pick it up next because obviously it would be pretty good here. It gives him 6 bonus strength as well, which is good. 6 bonus agi or strength. which is super solid. So I'm a little bit surprised to see him not buy it. I guess he feels like maybe he just wants to have a BKB, so it's not a concern at all. And in this last fight of the game, or one of the last fights of the game, and where we're going to end the video, is a beautiful execution from Mickey. Goes in, tosses out the nuke on Ode 11, just chipping him down. Turns into Lesh, which he's actually been doing a lot this game. A little bit surprising. I thought he would turn into the Monkey King and just use Boundless, but he seems to think the 2-second stun, which is a longer stun than Boundless, is better. And he's also stealing a ton of Spell Amp. I don't know if that's why he thinks it's good. It also does steal the stats from the Lesh, to be fair, right? Which is solid. You know, I guess I get it. 25% Spell Amp is a stupid amount of Spell Amp, so it is cool, right? It is good, and he is able to hit a really nice Lightning Storm into stun onto the Shaman, just instantly bursting him down. Onto the Monkey King next. Isn't going to be able to finish him, so he turns towards Paparazzi. He has a Scotty, so he counters the Lesh in particular. Does get stunned up here, but a beautiful Cookie is able to kite him out. And then from there, he can kind of once again focus down the Lesh. I don't know why he went on Centaur there. That was kind of weird. I think he should have kept going for Lesh. Yeah, there you go. He changed his mind. He's like, maybe that was a bad decision. He probably felt like the Lesh was dead. But either way, really easy fight. Not even close. The only time he might have died is if he didn't get cookied. Even then, he was probably fine realistically with how much, 42 armor and 25. He has more than 52% magic resist, 72% armor. I think he's probably fine, right? He probably wasn't going to die. And yeah, that's why this hero's broken. The Ags, the Shard, the buff to the W. This hero got base regen buffs. The attribute shift got buffed. It's like so much about this hero just got buffed in a pretty short amount of time, making it one of the best heroes in Dota right now. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.
And that's all. But remember, before you leave, come on, before you tune out, subscribe to the Game Leap website where we are going to help you get to the next rank. If you're stuck, click the link down below, and I'm out. Peace.